I used to think when we get older, we would have all the answers. You would be wiser. You would go through a lot of life experience. You know how to deal with certain issues, certain situations. But then I started seeing stories like this.
A shooting that killed a man at the Village Flea Market in Northwest Miami-Dade 2 weeks ago. Investigators say an alleged affair led a man to shoot his wife's lover. We were there live the night it happened. Police say 69-year-old Omar Aguila's son told him the victim was in the parking lot. According to arrest records, Aguila then drove a mobility scooter to the victim's car, argued for a few seconds, then opened fire. Aguila claims self-defense.
According to the police report, Mr. Aguila told the police that the alleged victim was reaching down. He thought he was going to be shot.
There's no evidence here to corroborate what the defendant is alleging to happen. In fact, evidence to the contrary indicates that his search did not reveal a firearm.
Detectives say the victim was not in that lot to see a woman. Investigators say he was delivering food to a friend working at the flea market, as well as in jail with no bond.
Turns out this guy showed up looking for his wife at his home July 10th. According to the news outlet, a fight broke out between them July 12th at a shopping center. The article said Omar went to the shopping center after he found out the guy went by his home looking for his wife. More back, and this is where he fatally shot the gentleman. But yeah, I know a lot of people are going to focus on the husband and also probably the wife in this situation. But I did want to take some time to just talk about it from the perspective of the guy that she was kind of messing around with. I know a lot of these situations, at least ego-wise for men, usually when you're in these types of situations, you want to keep them going. But honestly, there's nothing good that kind of comes out of situations like this. Yeah, because even when I was living in Miami, like I met a chick, we started vibing, everything was good, we was hooking up, all that bachelor lifestyle type stuff. But she had a husband. The guy was in jail, granted, but it was still that situation to where, he had friends that was out in the streets. They would see her. I guess they would suspect things by the way she was moving. And she would come back and she would tell me, she would say, they're accusing me of this, which honestly, was true. They was accusing her of messing around with me. They ain't know me personally, but they just knew she was, they knew how she was moving. Turns out word gets back to her husband. Obviously, they're in, they're having arguments, I guess, during visitation, that type of stuff. But you could tell the way the story's progressing, it was no reason to kind of stick around and see how that kind of unfolds. Like I had nothing to prove to kind of sit there and deal with a guy, mess around with a chick that wasn't, the most loyalist, I guess you could say. But before I kind of gathered that knowledge or knew all that, like I was still in my ego. I still felt a certain way about myself, especially these rap songs. I was 23. You start feeling yourself. You can smash another woman or another man's wife. But, those, as Malcolm X said, the chicken always come home to roost. So, those situations are always going to come back to bite you. Unfortunately, like this, like I say, he was hooking up with the wife for 6 years, and out of nowhere, some random guy, in a disabled vehicle pulls up on you and just, shoots you. So to all my fellas out there, probably even women too, women are getting aggressive these days. I've been covering a lot of stories where, women will act out, man, just like the fellas and do some craziness. But let's see what the comment section is talking about with this video. This first comment from Shane Wells says, the man said leave his wife alone. When you can't listen, you feel. To me, this is kind of sums up my point in an indirect way. This video, man, you don't know what's going through some other guy's mind. To me, like the way I'm kind of viewing this, like if someone doesn't want to be loyal, then just leave them alone. Like you can't force the person that they're messing with to, ignore their advances or, just disregard them or, sending them text messages trying to hook up. Like you're coming after the wrong person. But again, like I say, that's the danger in this. There's people that think like this. So, you may be knocking some chick off and you think it's one thing, or, you're hooking up with a guy and you think it's one thing. And then someone shows up at your door, ready to threaten you over something that their spouse did. So, yeah, this next comment, I've seen a lot of comments saying a lot of people knew the guy. I guess this person knew him back in the 80s, and they used to cut hair, or he used to cut hair at a flea market. But it's sad to see. It's like he was a respected guy, and he just kind of let this situation just kind of get to him, man. You just gotta put your ego aside. I know it's hard to kind of cut your losses. Especially, I'm not sure how long they've been married. I seen another comment that said they had met back in the 90s, late 90s. So I get that you have all that time with somebody, you just don't want to cut it loose. But, I don't see the benefit of going to jail for someone that's, they already showed that they weren't going to be loyal to you when you're on the outside. So as that story I was talking about earlier, like what is going to come of it now that you're incarcerated? And they're on the outside. Like, basically, she living her life now. She partying. So, yeah, it's sad, man. And then our last comment, which I agree with. You not the victim blame, but you gotta have some awareness in the situation. Like, you just can't pull up to a married person's home or, somebody that looking for them and just think it's gonna be okay. Because I'm assuming, like, you've been dealing with her for years, so you have to know the situation. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe she was just that good. Maybe that was it. She was just, so addictive that he couldn't quit her. And unfortunately, look where it kind of led him. So, But what did you guys think about today's story? Be sure to comment below. Peace. I'll see you next time.